Morning. It's February 24th. This is another walk downtown. Same as yesterday, really. I'm going to the coffee shop and then to the hotel to work, having lunch meeting with somebody. Normally on Fridays I'd walk around the lake, but for one thing, there's no way the phone would last around the lake. It's even colder this morning. It's minus 29 Celsius, which is cold, about minus 20 Fahrenheit. And the wind chill is minus 39, which is darn close to minus 39 Fahrenheit because the two scales come together at minus 40. So it's basically a minus 40 wind chill. Going to be higher anywhere that there's wind blowing around a building. So I'm just going to walk downtown again to the same coffee shop I walked to yesterday. The path might be different depending on how the lights in crossing Albert Street work, but the destination is the same. And after all, it's the journey that matters more than the destination. Isn't that what they usually say? I don't think that's true. If you're trying to get to, say, Houston, Texas, and the journey ends up with you dumped in Los Angeles, you're not going to say, well, the journey was more important than the destination. You want that destination. Good reason to see an extension cord across the sidewalk here today. People plug in at these temperatures, rock heaters. You're not supposed to put them across the sidewalk, but people do. My car, our main car, the Volvo XC60 2015, has always been very, very reliable in the cold, even though it's almost 8 years old now. And I did start it this morning remotely. It's been sitting there for 2 days at these temperatures. Started without any problem at all. I just let it run until it ran itself off in 15 minutes. They don't actually need it today, but I did want to give it a little warmth. There's that new house. It's got its insulation on it. Or it's not really insulation, but the wrap there. In fact, we'll go over that way. See it? It's big. I'm interested to see what it looks like when they get the outside on it. I have to watch the ice again, of course. I did put on long underwear today. I'm sure you were wondering. Just thought I'd share that with you. It's supposed to be this better high-tech stuff, but it's not actually as warm as the old-fashioned pair I've had for 40 years. Which had a kind of a thicker weave, I guess, which traps air. This is quite thin, and I guess you're supposed to be relying on some sort of higher tech fabric, but they aren't as cold as the other. I couldn't find the other though, so I wear these better than yesterday when I wasn't wearing long underwear. And my legs did get quite chilly by the time I got down there. See the sun shining off of the building there. It's somewhat cloudy. This is where we'll run into some wind, is around this taller building here. It's not really windy, but it doesn't take much wind at these temperatures to kick your wind chill up. There's the sun. You can see it's not exactly clear. This is better than it was a few days ago when we were having Milton. Looks like I might hit this one in time to cross here, so that'll be good. That'll be different from yesterday. So when I get down to the coffee shop, I'll be working on the, oh, perfect, as long as I pick up the pace a little. I'll be working on the musical I'm writing the script for. It's not my story, but I'm adapting, or not adapting really, but following an outline by the guy that wrote the music as well. Let's go one block down College this time before we start working our way towards downtown. Royal Saskatchewan Museum over there. And we'll turn up the next street. Which is, oh, there's a moving van in front of the Shumiatcher's old house. That's it, a house we know well because the Shumiatchers were family friends. And I'd heard it sold, but I don't know really to whom. They're unlikely to invite us over because we don't know them, unlike the Shumiatchers. Yeah, lights on. Moving van over there and another truck over here. It's either somebody moving in or some last vestiges being moved out. Not sure which. Oh yes, the Frontier Center for Public Policy, Saskatchewan office. I wrote a book for them about the Grant Devine years in Saskatchewan. A large portion of the book. They paid well. Don't know that the book made much of a splash, but they paid well. In fact, I made more money writing that book than any other single book I've written. Clearly, I should be writing more politics. And I might actually have one coming up. There's a politician that's thinking of doing her memoirs and political memoirs and is looking for a writer. So I might be working on that. That used to be a hostel. I don't know if it still is or not. One of those, I was thinking as pig noses. Awnings. We'll cross because nobody's coming. One of the advantages of a one-way street. See a lot of cars sitting and running. This kind of weather. Sometimes the people in them, sometimes they're locked and running. There's an ambulance. Cars all trail long plumes of steam, too, in this weather. Ice fog, really. It turns to ice fog pretty much as soon as it comes out of the tailpipe. Laney Lodge. Sounds a bit like Looney Lodge, but I don't know who Laney was, but that's their lodge. Now we'll go up another block. Always working up to the north and east. Cinnaboya Gallery there, very fine private gallery. We bought art there and had stuff in there. We know the know the people who own it fairly well. And this was the first of these kind of condo buildings in this neighborhood, which we visited when we were looking at potentially buying one in a different building, which was under construction. And we liked it, so we did. We've been happy with that. It's a good building. We don't live there now, but we still have the condo. It's kind of the east wing of our house. Everyone has an east wing, don't they? A new and boring building next to an older and more interesting building. Interesting if you ask me anyway, which nobody did. That one had an addition put on top of it not that long ago. I remember watching them build it. Well, not that long ago, it's probably more than a decade, but this one on this corner reminds me of buildings, a building in particular, down in Searcy, Arkansas, where I went to university, that my parents lived in as college after they were married. So it's still in college. At least my dad was still in college. I'm sure that guy got a stop sign over there so I can keep going. That's Ripplinger's here, which is another art gallery and gift shop. It's the side of that old building, and then another of roughly the same vintage behind it. There's Ripplinger's. It has a cafe, which I think is still there. Obviously it didn't do much during the pandemic, but hello, urban environment. Tallest building in Regina is the Delta Hotel. Is it a Delta still? Downtown? 20 stories. City Hall is 17. I should know, I used to work on the 15th floor for a few months on a contract position. That may, I don't know, tallest building in Saskatchewan is probably in Saskatoon now. It's hard to be sure. They've got a number of new ones there, and I don't know how they pan out compared to ours. Hello. There are antennas that are taller, but actual buildings, 20 stories or thereabouts, as high as we've gone in Saskatchewan. Another kind of seniors apartment building. Not cold, quite warm. A little too warm, actually. Well, parts of me are warm, parts of me are cold. That's the way it goes this kind of time of the year. This little office building. APEGS, the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan, used to be in here. They outgrew it. They're out in Harbour Landing, but back when I wrote their history book, they were in here, so I was in there for meetings quite a bit. I did their centennial history book. Salvation Army on that corner. This is actually a little fountain, this rock here. Not fountaining right now, though. Depends on the city. In Regina, everything's convenient. You can get anywhere in Regina in 20 minutes. So it's just what you're looking for. In Toronto, if you wanted to live downtown, it'd definitely be apartment or condo. And if you could find a private house in like the Annex north of Bloor, which is an area I kind of know, I'm sure they're horrendously expensive. Those banging noises. Oh, clearing snow and ice, I guess. All right, we'll go up one more block, which will take us to Victoria. As we'll cross to the other side. Oh, sanding the sidewalks here, I see. So in Regina, you could probably rent a house for about what you'd rent an apartment at. Now, there are neighborhoods you probably wouldn't want to live in, of course, like any other city. But there's lots of apartments and condos. If you were living really close to downtown, well, I don't know, we live in a private house, and it's taken me 20 minutes to walk here, so by any city standards in the world, that's not bad. But we're a small city, less than 250,000, so what applies here doesn't apply in Toronto, Calgary, or Edmonton, or Winnipeg even. Vancouver. There's the land titles building, so you know we're getting close to the hotel, which is right across the street, right here on my right. There she blows. Be there for lunch, but I'm heading another block to the Brewed Awakening coffee shop, same one I went to yesterday. And I'll work there for an hour or so and then walk over here for my lunch meeting. Victoria Park ahead of us. The gold building sticking up there is Saskatchewan Government Insurance. Down there, City Hall, that's 17 stories. Although it also has that sort of cap on top of it, which makes it a bit taller. I think the Edward Tower there is 15. You can't see the tallest one, the hotel, from here. It's behind those buildings and down about 3 blocks. The Twin Towers there are probably about 15 stories too. I don't know. I've never looked to see what the top floor number is. All right, well, we'll be in here soon enough. Not right now. There's the time. I think it's actually pretty accurate this morning too. You know how those outdoor clocks are. Sometimes they seem to keep time and sometimes they just quit. They seem to be a pain to keep running. I remember doing a feature on somebody when I was at the Weyburn Review down in Weyburn who was refurbishing the old post office tower clock. I wondered if they kept it going after that. Again, Victoria Park over there. Town. The tower there still has the Grey Cup Festival stuff on the side of it. Grey Cup was in November. Canadian Football League Championship. And one more block and we're done. As you can tell, federal government building. That's the logo. And that again is the SAS Power building designed by Joseph Petit, inspired by Brazilian modernism. You can't see it from here, but the those pillars down at the bottom look like bones, represent fossil fuels. Even though oil doesn't come from dinosaurs, but it's kind of a popular misunderstanding of where it comes from. It's mostly, I think it's mostly microorganisms. Okay, this is where we're going, in here, so thanks for walking with me. And maybe join me later in the afternoon when I walk home again, when it should be a bit warmer.